Thank you. I will know if it's the good one when we get to the next pages, because in the first one there were numbers I was not allowed to show you. So we will discover that in a few minutes. It's a very difficult task to end this session today. It's a difficult task because I'm the representative of the boring part of data and analytics. And we've seen really great people here showing what they're able to do. And as a bank, I am not going to show you the greatest things that we do. I'm not. I'm not because you are here to sell. We're not here to sell. Or you are here to invest, and you want to see what the startups are able to do. BNP Paribas, we are not here to show you what we're able to do. So I'm going to communicate about my needs based on two very basic examples. Okay. After I've presented the company. So that's the boring part of the presentation. I hope I have questions at the end. I understand not now, but after that. So I'm not a vendor. I'm a buyer, and I need your help, and we will see that at the end. And for me, by the way, it is truly the first time I do this presentation. You know, not like the one before. So I hope we meet afterwards at the drinks. You can recognize me easily. I have the tie. I'm probably the only one here tonight. No, there is one there. I understand that the tie is the emerging part of the spreadsheet. So it's a big bunch of spreadsheet, and at the top of it you have a tie. And so that's me. Again, on the boring part. Sorry, I'm not the head of data and analytics for the whole group of BNP Paribas. I'm just the head of data and analytics for personal finance. It's probably one of the most fun part of BNP Paribas, but that's not the whole group. I will show you that afterwards. So BNP Paribas Personal Finance, sorry, I didn't look at my slides before, okay. What is it? It's a consumer credit. So it's the brand CTLM in France and many other brands throughout the world. And what we do is mostly credit, some savings, and some insurance. And we do it directly to our consumers, or we do it through partnerships with other banks, with retailers, and with automobile dealers. Now that you know that we do credit, the important part in knowing that is that we have two aspects in analytics. The first one is to estimate the risk that we take when we lend, and the second one is the marketing part. How much do we invest in acquiring a given customer? Now that's part of the fun part. The fun part is that personal finance is present in 28 countries. That's over 100 different business lines. We have 27 million customers, probably more by the end of the year. We are about to open, I think, between 3 and 5 countries this year. One of them here is a mistake. It's Ireland. So it's we're not active in Ireland, and we're not going to open it this year. It's a mistake from communication. All the others are real. So all this is plenty of data. And if you look at the other figures, the 4.74 billion euros in revenues. That's also an actual figure, and so that gives you the size of the investments that we're willing to make in different fields, starting with data and analytics. What do we mean by big data? We never thought about big data as big data by itself. For us, it's just getting bigger data. And so we put together this flower. It's a marguerite. The author of the marguerite is there at the back of the room. What we want to expand is to get new data to make better business decisions. Data from our systems that we don't control, or we don't understand, or we're not able to manage. Data from social networks on our customers and prospects. Data from our partners, or data from connected objects. So data from entities with which we have a contractual or operational link. And then there is all the rest of the world of data, from free data, open data, data from credit bureaus and online data. That's most of the data that you know well. So before I get to the business cases, the plan is very simple, and I only have 3 minutes to go through it. Okay. I'm going to show you those two boring, simple cases. And after that, I'm going to give you, or ask you 3 questions, or give you 3 challenges. And from these challenges, I'm expecting some response from you, positive response from you. The first example is the most basic one. What we've done is to look at the census data to enrich our database and see if we were getting better at direct marketing. So we are better at direct marketing once we have census data. So we go to INSEE, we plug the INSEE data in France on our customer database. That's all legal, and then we make decisions. We make scores and then decisions based on this data, and we know what's the incremental value of this data. Into it, we have, so that's the right presentation because that's, we don't have the secret figures here. We have criteria that tell us if a customer is responsive to our offer or not. And so here you have 2 criteria, and the one on the left, for example, tells you that the left third of the population is much more responsive to our offer. So that's an uplift model. That's the incremental response we get on this segment with our offer. And it's very important to us, knowing what is going to give us incremental response. So it's not appetency, it's uplift. And that's the chart, that's the Excel part of it, where we compute how much money we make with this kind of decision. If we do the solicitation randomly, then we have the whole curve, the cumulative 100% of the population, and you see that a big half of it is actually not profitable, so we shouldn't be doing it. Now, if we go, if we don't do it randomly, we can select the 48% on which we are profitable. If we do it without the census data, you have the gray curve. You barely see it. It's not. It's better than random, but it's not great. And if we add the census data, we add an incremental boost to our response. So we're happy. We're happy because internal data is good, but with the outside data, it's even better, and we can measure it. And when we measure it, we can get more investments on this data and analytics efforts. Second business case, a little bit more complex, that's internal data. Internal data, there are plenty of things that we couldn't manage until very recently. Unstructured data, in particular, all the relationship that we have with our customers. So here we did a pilot, a test with a retech. And we worked on a study of very unstructured data, which are the Inbound Chronicles and also other unstructured data. The Inbound Chronicles, it's the story that you have with your customer. It can be very long, it can be very short, it can be rich, it can be sparse. It can be made of text, images, and so on. Plenty of things, voice, notes from not from your customer, but from your sales representative, and so on. Very diverse data. Until very recently, we were not using it at all. At all. Depending on the entity, we have 20 years of historical data, 30 years of historical data. Not using it. Now we're using it, and so depending on the story of your customer, so the succession of events, you can predict adverse events or positive events. Huh? Here I give you the numbers, so I cannot give you the event. I either give you the event or the number, but I cannot give you both at the same time. Anyway, once you have that, then you gain on your predictive power. Again, here you have the distribution curve of the gains that you make based on your whole population. So if you're on the far right, it's 100% of the population. If you have your model only with the internal data that you have the gray line. Now, if you add the external data, and sometimes when you add external data and external methodologies, then you gain a lot. So the blue curve is the best one. Great gains with some stability. Then that's the BNP work with Retech. Quite easy. Now I have the same image that someone else before, and it's just a coincidence. Now it's time for the three challenges, or the three questions. The first one, and you may wonder, why is he showing us such dumb examples? It's just an illustration to tell you that most of the gains that we have comes from the new data that we acquire. So it's very simple. It's just a link between existing data and our systems. And so where we need help is to link this data with our decision making. And very few of your companies are doing that. A lot of companies are doing predictive models, and I'm going to get to it right after that. But getting to new data, very few. That's a big business opportunity. Apparently, you are not seizing it. That's for the investors here, that I think that's an important insight. The second challenge is the power of predictivity. So I saw the T-shirt, predict or die, something like that. Be careful when you say that. Huh? Be careful, because many of you are going to die if you follow this. Predictive models, and I think it was very well said in your presentation. Predictive models that are truly predictive, that are not biased, and by the way are fair and are legal. There are very few of them. Why is that? That I don't understand. I see someone from Criteo here. So if I go to the internet, I buy gloves, leather gloves, and then I buy a helmet, okay, a motorcycle helmet. What am I going to see on my screen for the following 6 months? I'm going to see gloves and helmet. I am not going to see a motorbike. I don't understand why. That's not predictive power. That's just repeating the past, exactly what you were saying. And that we don't want to do. Even in a bank, we're slow, but we're not that slow. We need to predict the future behavior of our customers, not the past ones. So that's my second challenge. I've been in that position for 3 years, and over the past 3 years, we haven't been really impressed by the additional predictive power that our outsourcers are giving us. There is some, it's not huge. Not enough to invest millions. So it's just enough to invest a few thousands, but not more. The third challenge is the business relevance of what you do. Obviously, we are all passionate about predictive models, discovering new data, doing great graphs on Excel or on Tableau, and we can see beautiful images, so beautiful I could put them in my apartment to, as a decoration. And that's awesome, but it works only once when you're presenting to your COMEX, executive committee. The second time, they're asking for cash. And the business relevance of what you're doing, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. When it's not that we waste our time. It's great to talk about techniques and new data and new methodologies, but in the end, we need to focus on the business gains. So I'm going to give you an example. Over the past now 5 years, we've been working on price optimization programs. And over the past 5 years, we haven't found anyone who's doing predictive scores on price elasticity. Predictive scores that work. The ones that don't work, we have found. The ones that work, we have not found. The gains that you can get from pricing is huge. Only at Personal Finance, the gains that we get from pricing are between 8 and 9 figures. That's in financial terms, that's between things around 10 million euros and 100 million euros. Why isn't anyone working on that? Again, that I don't understand. So these are my 3 challenges. I'm sorry to end with that, but that are the things that we're expecting from you. And if that comes, then we will be really happy to meet again and work with you in the future. Thank you.